Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTube. I am so delighted to jump on today. Today is Friday, and I wanted to jump on because I haven't actually been on YouTube to talk about my book. So, yeah, that's what I came on to do today. This is my new book, Spiritually Fly: Wisdom, Meditations, and Yoga to Elevate Your Soul. Yay! So it's been 30 days since it's been out. I'm so sorry, YouTube, that I haven't been on to talk about this. I've been all on all the other social platforms, but today, 30 days marks the release of this beautiful, beautiful book, this beautiful collection of my personal stories, this beautiful collection of teachings, things that I have been teaching over, oh my gosh, let's see, for probably about 16, 17, I don't know, something like that years. For those of you that may not know, I have been in the wellness space for a very long time. Even before I became a yoga teacher and meditation instructor, I was actually in the health and wellness arena prior to, again, becoming a yoga and meditation instructor. I was in the HIV/AIDS arena, so I was addressing health in a very, very different issue, in a different way, a different method. And then I dropped everything in that nonprofit life and decided to become a yoga teacher. I moved to New York, figured things out, and started teaching. And that journey is all in this book, right? I can go through all the details about it. But to make a long story short, I became a yoga teacher. Then over the years, I realized, of course, something I knew already innately, right? Something that was already in my heart, is that yoga is simply a tool for me. It is always simply been this tool to support and aid me in my entire life. And so what I wanted to do with this book and kind of like where I am on my path now, because I do want to share a couple of things in this video, what I have shared in this book is that yoga, meditation, breath work, all the different healing modalities have aided me on my path and on my way to stepping into my fullness. And that's really what this book is about. I'm laying out a variety of lessons and exercises, meaning like written exercise. Like, you read this book, it's just not a quick read. It's like, take your time. It is a handbook. So it's like, pause, stop. If I say practice this for the next 40 days, practice it for the next 40 days. If I say try this for 7 days and then move into the next stage 2, and then do that for 7 days. That's what I really mean, because it is a handbook to support you, because these are the tools and techniques that I've used to aid me in my life over the course of my involvement in the wellness industry. The other thing that I want to talk about along with this book, because it is filled with way more than yoga, way more than meditation. I mean, the first word in there is like wisdom, right there. So the wisdom piece is not just my personal wisdom, but the wisdom that I've gained from others. I mean, from my personal teachers, and not just my yoga teachers, not just my wellness guides over the years. I mean, from my college professor, I mean, just the gems that they dropped, the wisdom that I gained from my parents, right? And not necessarily, the words that they were speaking. Of course, my parents were very loving and very open and very kind to me and very supportive of my life. But also this aspect of learning from even their mistakes, right? Because there's wisdom in their experience. And so I drop it all up in here. I'm just, yeah, I don't even know what to say. There's so much in there. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about today is that over the past, I'm going to say 4 years or so, while writing this book, so many things were transpiring and shifting and happening in my life. And so I wanted to come on YouTube to actually talk about this because about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I made an announcement that I would be closing my yoga studio that I have, Embrace Yoga DC. And that is actually closing at the end of the month. And so many people, which I mean, I've owned the studio for 11 years. And so many people were shocked and surprised, including the people that work for me, right? The yoga teachers and the healing guides that work for me. They were all shocked and surprised. And people that have gone through my yoga teacher training programs or my meditation training programs was just like, huh? What are you doing? What's happening in Embrace? You've always been there. What's going on? Oh my God, are you okay? La 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 la. Like there's just so much coming at me. And I think the thing that people didn't realize is that in the course of my time that I've been working on this book and living my life, because this book started, meaning it started inside of me, especially in terms of the content, the spiritually 5 sutras, which is the foundation for this book, started 10 years ago. Like when I first opened my second studio, because Embrace was my second. I had another yoga studio that I owned from 2007 through 2010 or 2009 or 2006. I don't know. I don't remember the time limit. And then I opened Embrace in 2010. So when I opened Embrace, I opened during a very bright moment in my life, meaning I was opening up my second studio. I was really excited about it. But then it was also a very dark moment in my life because I was going through a very traumatic relationship that was very controlling, and it was also abusive at times, verbally and sometimes physically abusive. And so I started working on myself. When I left the relationship, I ended it. I was like, I gotta like figure something out. And again, I talk about this in the book. And when I moved through that, I started writing down these sutras. And there's 7 sutras that are in the book. I'll actually go through them a little bit later in my conversation. But when that happened, I started also recording the practices that I was actually using in order to work through that traumatic relationship, in order to build myself back up, because I was living this very bizarre, like double life. I had my wellness life, my yoga family, my studio, and then I had this life at home. And then when I broke apart from that relationship, I had to reset. And so the tools and techniques that are inside of this book are my reset buttons, are my tools and my techniques that I've used. And 4 years ago, when I started writing this book, or almost, a little bit over 4 years ago, I always forget because we've been in this pandemic, like, oh my God, a long time. And actually, I was going through the final edits and taking photos in the middle of the pandemic when it first started in 2020. So a little bit over 4 years ago when I started writing. But as I started writing this 4 years ago, I started thinking to myself, what do I want my life to look like next? Like, what is the next chapter for me? And so I started processing that during my writing, and like, this is all history, right? There's a lot of personal stories in here, but the history is not there for me to continue to relive. The history is there for me to gain the wisdom, to gain the lessons, and continue to share. And so when I closed my studio down, or when I made the announcement that I'm closing my studio down at the end of September, part of that is these years of determining where do I want to go next in my life. And so when I decided to make that shift of closing my studio, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen 2 months ago. I mean, people that are on my team that are very close to me, meaning like my right hands, they know, and my manager, they know that I have been talking about this for a really long time. And when I finally made the announcement to the world, it was a big shock. And so I know that it can come as a surprise when people have been doing something for so long and then they decide to let that part of who they are go. And so that's what I've done. I've used these techniques and processes and these tools that are inside this book, but all of the other wellness tools and healing modalities that I practice on a regular basis to support me in making that huge life decision of stopping and ending that path. Like, that path is no longer serving me, meaning it's no longer serving my highest good, my passions. And that's what I really want to drop today, is that hopefully from what I am sharing in this book, what I am doing in my life, that maybe someone, maybe one person will be inspired to take a shift, to change their path and follow and go and follow another dream or follow another desire that really fills them up. Because as much as I loved my yoga studio, as much as I mean, that's 11 years of owning the first one. And then I spent another 3 years prior to that owning another one. Finally stepping into this place and saying, this studio is no longer serving my highest good. And that strength and that resilience and that confidence of making that choice wasn't just by chance. It wasn't an overnight thought. It came back to living what's in this book, living my spiritually fly life. And if I can't live my spiritually fly life, I can't tell other people or encourage others to do it. And so that's one aspect that I wanted to share. But just so you can get a taste and have an idea of what is in this book. And when I talked earlier or spoke earlier about the sutras, I want to just share what those sutras are. So there's 7 sutras. And again, I crafted and created these sutras sometime, I think I started late 2010, 2011, crafting these sutras as a way to move through my own pain and suffering and to heal myself. And from there, I started to teach them in my yoga classes, in my workshops and trainings. And now they're in this lifestyle book. It truly is a self-help book. In this self-help book to hopefully aid someone else in moving on their path. So sutra number 1, lead with love. Sutra number 2, stand in your truth. Sutra number 3, face your demons with compassion and bravery. Sutra 4, let down the walls and reveal your heart. Sutra 5, trust and have faith in yourself and others. Sutra 6, follow your passions with conviction and purpose. And Sutra 7, be your divine self. Be divine without apologizing. And so as I think back on my life and all of the things that I've done within the yoga scene and the meditation arena, all of it comes back to this. When I think about my life that I lived prior to that, in fighting for the rights of people with HIV and being an advocate and supporting nonprofit organizations in running their HIV/AIDS programs in a very efficient and socially conscious way, a mindful way. I mean, because I was practicing yoga then in a very mindful way, come back to these sutras. When I think about who this book is dedicated to, I dedicate it to my family, but I also dedicate it to my 5-year-old self. So when I think about that 5-year-old self, this is who she was. I mean, she was like all these sutras. The baby girl was like all these sutras wrapped up in one. I mean, she was off like little faith. Little faith was all love. Little faith spoke her mind. She was sometimes afraid of the ghosts and the demons and the mean people, but she still confronted them with bravery. Little faith was okay with letting down her walls. She was passionate and she followed that passion, oh, with so much bravery. Little faith was unapologetic. She played with zest. And then along the way, right, like all of us, along the way, we are impacted by the things that are around us. We are impacted by the messages that we receive from our caregivers, from our teachers, from our friends that sometimes knock us down and it's hard for us to get up. And then we continue to carry that throughout our lives. And then that suppressed behavior and those fearful choices start to dictate our life, and we are afraid to jump. And so, in writing this book, it reminded me of that girl. And even though as an adult, I had all these tools and practice and knowledge about self and wellness, I still needed a reminder. And this book served as my reminder as I'm writing it down, right? As I'm pulling it out and like re-examining like my own life in the process. And so at the end of this accomplishment, right, of getting this book out, I realized that it was time to make another shift. And that other shift is closing my yoga studio and exploring more than just teaching, right? I will still continue to teach yoga. I will still continue to guide meditations that like I love, 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 love doing that. But I also, the things that I've done over the past probably 5 or 6 years, I love guiding people in different ways. I love using social platforms to create mindful living. I love helping people create mindful spaces within their heart and in their soul. I love helping people dig through the muck and come out with this magnificent lotus flower. I love traveling. I love working with really big groups on generating energy. I absolutely love creating beauty out of a mess, be that the mess in our souls and like helping someone find their beauty. So what will come from me is that I will continue to share this book here on YouTube, meaning elements of this book. I'm already sharing a lot of it on Instagram. Every Sunday, I do Spiritually Fly the Word. And in Spiritually Fly the Word, I take a message or a principle or theme that I've shared in my Sunday yoga class at my studio, but that's going to end pretty soon, end at the end of the month. So I basically take that theme and then share that on Instagram and just kind of do a quick read from the book. But then I also want to be able to serve as that last night was a nice little ping in my brain and in my heart, and just help people craft their own life rituals. And so that may come in different forms. I'm still working through what that will look like. So definitely, if you guys have any requests, I know several people have asked me to mentor them, to coach them. Um, I don't really necessarily see myself as a coach, but I definitely see myself as a guide. And I guess, words are words. You can put them in however they want to go. So I will definitely open up space in my calendar so that I can serve as a guide to people and guide them through the book, or simply guide them through their life and aid them in working through their own stuff and their own mess. It's one of the things that I've done for a long time from the mat. And so now I want to take that same energy off the mat in a really, really big way and say there are a lot of tools that you can use in order to heal and get better. The other piece that I want to do is, because I want to support people in a different way, I will also create more digital content. So you get a lot more here on YouTube and Instagram and like all those other social places for me. So you get more visual and video content, audio content. I will continue, which is, I would probably say meditation is, for me, is even more important and more essential than my yoga, meaning teaching it. And so, and in my personal life, I'm like always trying to drop into a meditation. I'm like, wake up in the morning, let's hit snooze. This turns into like, oh, a 15 meditation in bed. Yeah. Or, I'm just moving through my day and I'm just like, time to lay out. Just lean back and just drop into a meditation. So I will definitely, without a doubt, offer more and more meditations. I mean, there's so many meditation processes and techniques and mantras and things that I haven't even had a chance to share because my body, my mind, my soul has been so consumed by my studio. And now I have this opportunity to just expand and grow and shift in a very different way. So before I get off, I do want to ask for your help. And so what I'd like to ask is that if there are any requests that you want, any ideas like, Faith, can you give us that? Or, yes, I am. Like, let me know if you are interested in doing, or me being your life guide, and helping you craft some life rituals and supporting you in that way, so that I can make sure that I set up that platform, and it's easy to use and the process is great. And yeah, if there's anything that you want in terms of lifestyle, wellness, let me know so that I can create it. I mean, that's what I love doing, is creating and helping people manifest their beautiful lives, right? Even if we're in a crazy, dark world, we can still find these elements of beauty and love and compassion in it. And we can live it. That's probably one of the most important things. We can live it. So add a comment, listen to this video again, sit on it. And yeah, that's what I would love for you guys to do, is to aid me on finding new ways to share. And a lot more. I will be sharing from my book a lot more. I will continue to teach some yoga. I will continue to teach meditation. I will continue to teach breath work, but it's going to come in another way. And I'm ready for it. The question is, are you guys ready for it? Because we need all the tools to stay healthy, to stay balanced, to stay fly. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. And again, this is Faith Hunter. Booyah! This is Spiritually Fly, my new book. There's a link in the bio, so if you want to go and grab it, so that you can walk through it with me and you can do amazing practices in it. Go do that, and know that I will be popping on a couple of times a month here on YouTube to do some spiritual fly life hacks, some spiritually fly life rituals. And of course, stay connected with me on other social platforms because I will offer a lot of things. Oh, before I go, and I'll actually include this in the link as well, or in the bottom. What was that called? In the comments, or just in the summary or description. There it is. Duh. In the description. So what I'll also include in the description is I am doing a special lecture on October 5th that is called Elevate Your Soul, where I will walk through all 7 sutras and provide very specific practices on these 7 sutras. I'll leave a link so that if you want to register for that, it is not happening here on YouTube. It is happening on Amphi, and it's kind of like amphitheater. And so I'm doing that live on their platform, and it's only $10. It's like for an entire hour, you get like this masterclass on Spiritually Fly. And then the day after that, which I will also leave in the comment box, I am doing a crystal one-on-one 101 workshop. It's about 75, 90 minutes. I think it's a 90-minute experience. And I will talk about crystals because crystals are an essential part. Okay, do y'all want to see a big crystal? Just saying. It sits over here by this plant. I'm just, like, this is how serious crystals are in my life. Here we go. So, so what I'm going to do on October 6th is I will go through ways to use crystals, how to create a crystal grid, and how you can use crystals in your own healing. And again, it comes from some of the processes and techniques and things that I offer up in Spiritually Fly, because I do talk about using crystals in that. It's all the energy. We're all energy. So why don't we just work with it? Work with it to make our lives more amazing, more dynamic, and work with the energy in order to navigate the challenges, the struggles, the things that are really hard and uncomfortable. Yeah. So there you have it, guys. I wanted to share the news about my book. It's been officially 30 days. Go out, go grab Spiritually Fly. I'll leave all of those links in my bio that I mentioned. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, followers, for hanging out with me live. Thank you for supporting me over the years here on my YouTube page. And I am so excited to be on this new path of offering something different. And yeah, following my passions with conviction. Sutra number 6, by the way. Thank you so much, everybody. And I'm just going to read some comments. Oh my God. So thank you so much for doing my yoga practice, Seth. Thank you. And yeah, there'll be more to come. Ciao, guys. Take care.